What's going on, everybody? So in this video, I want to talk about mistakes that you need to avoid before you move to Fort Lauderdale. Welcome to Living Fort Lauderdale, where we make videos weekly about what it's like to move to or live in the Fort Lauderdale area. So if that's what you're looking for, make sure to subscribe. And I am a licensed realtor here in Florida, so just as much as I love making these videos, I love even more to help you with your real estate needs. So my number and email are popping up below. Feel free to reach out if you have any questions or you're planning a move out here. I'd love to hear from you. But with that being said, let's talk about it. 5 mistakes that you need to avoid before you move to Fort Lauderdale. Alright, so diving right in, number 1, in no particular order, is going to be not researching areas or neighborhoods. Now, I can't tell you how many times people move out here and they just think they want to live in Fort Lauderdale, the city, but they realize that that's not actually what they want. They don't spend any of that time prepping while they're prepping their move out here, actually diving into different areas and figuring out which one best suits their needs. So this is something that we will go over on our initial Zoom call, and what I always recommend is that you pick a couple areas, you start narrowing it down, and then when the time comes, you make a trip out here. You plan a trip and you spend at least one day in each area, kind of just getting to know it. Drive there at different times, visit different restaurants, drive during rush hour, drive there at night. You really want to get a feel for what this area is, because at the end of the day, if you're buying a house in Fort Lauderdale, you might find the perfect house in the wrong area, and you can change a kitchen, you could change a bathroom, but you can't pick the house up and move it to a new location. So number 1 is going to be, don't make the mistake of not researching areas. All right, number 2, and this one and number 1 are honestly probably the 2 most important ones. This one could be more important for a lot of people, but number 2 is don't move here without your job situation figured out. Again, I've seen it go wrong for way too many people. A lot of people just come down here and they say, oh, I'll figure it out when I get there. It doesn't usually work like that. So yes, you can find a job easily down here in Florida, but the thing is that the salaries may not pay as well as where you're used to living right now. So Florida is very big on the tourism and the hospitality industry. But when it comes to, buying a house or making sure you have enough money to actually live, it may not be enough for you. So like I said, way too many people I've seen just come down here without a job, saying they're gonna figure it out. Then they go months without finding something. They finally get something, and they realize it's not even close to what they were making in their previous home, especially if you're coming from a place like Southern California or New York that have really high salaries. Florida is just not known for high salaries. Now, if you're working remote, that's obviously a different story. You don't have to worry about it. But, a lot of people just move down here because they want a fresh start. And that's just not the way to go about it. And I just highly, highly, highly recommend that you at least do as much research as possible on jobs before you move down here. If you have money set aside to, hold you over for some time, that's totally up to you if that's something you want to take a chance on. But I've just seen it happen to too many people. Don't come down here without figuring out your job situation. All right, so the next mistake to avoid is going to be overlooking the weather. Now, yeah, we know it's hot down here. The first thing I did when I moved down here was I threw away my snow scrapers. Obviously, you could do that, but don't overlook the weather just because it's hot here all the time. something you have to remember is that we are in a tropical climate. We are in hurricane territory. So yes, it's hot, but during the summers, it gets brutally hot. It also rains a lot. I'm sure you saw what happened 2 weeks ago down here with the flooding. That's not normal to see that amount of flooding, but flooding does happen down here. And yes, at the end of the day, we are in a hurricane territory, so it's just always something to be prepared for. So while you may think you're leaving, Boston or wherever you're leaving and you never have to deal with snow again and everything's gonna be paradise, yes, you're never gonna have to deal with snow again, but you're gonna have to make up for it with other things like humidity. May not seem like a big deal to you as you're stuck in 3 feet of snow, but when you want to go outside at 10 o'clock at night or open your windows to get a cool breeze to blow into your house, that's not going to happen. 10 o'clock at night in the middle of July, it's still 90 degrees with humidity. No sun, the air feels like it's thick and you need to cut it with a knife. So just something to think about. Don't overlook the weather just because you're escaping the snow. Be prepared for potential hurricanes. Be prepared for tropical storms over the summer. Be prepared for potential flooding. And so the next mistake you want to avoid is overlooking the cost of living. Now, I can't tell you how many people reach out to me that remember the Florida from 10, 15, 20 years ago, especially coming from like New York or New Jersey, and everybody thinks it's so cheap down here. Well, a lot has changed over the last 4 years. So the cost of living here is high. I'll put the numbers on the screen, how much higher it is than the national average. Fort Lauderdale's cost of housing is higher than the national average. It just is what it is. We went through a real estate boom here in the last couple years. The demand was just crazy to come down here. That's also where the job situation comes into play. You don't want to overlook the cost of living because the salaries don't line up with it. So getting back to the job situation, this kind of goes along with it. You just want to make sure you do your research. There's a good website that I like to refer people to use, which is payscale.com. They have a cost of living calculator. I don't know exactly how accurate it is, but you can plug in your current city where you're living right now and plug in your salary, and it's going to tell you how much you need to make to maintain that same lifestyle down here that you're living in your current home. So it's at least a reference point. It's at least a starting point for you to look at, but just don't think that this is the same Florida from 20 years ago where you can get a 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom house for $250,000. Those days are long gone. The next mistake you're going to want to avoid is going to be choosing an area to live based on price. This is something else that I've seen go wrong for so many people. Yes, Florida, the housing down here is a little bit higher than the national average. So when you're buying a house, you may see in these really desirable areas that what your price point will get you is not what you want. So don't pick an area just based off of price, because at the end of the day, there's a reason that the home is priced the way it is in that area. So sometimes it's worth it to make a little bit of a sacrifice. And again, this is something that we'll go over on our first Zoom call. When we go over the areas of interest, go over your price range, pull up the MLS, and you can see exactly what's in that area. And if we have to make adjustments, we just go from there. But the last thing I want to see for any of you that are moving down here is you just picking an area just due to the fact that you found a fully renovated home for $300,000 when a majority of the fully renovated homes in the desirable areas are going for $600,000 to $700,000. Like I said, there's a reason for that. And everything that we've discussed so far on this video, like I mentioned, we will discuss in our first Zoom call, which gives me the perfect opportunity to remind you that yes, I'm a realtor. Yes, I love making these videos, but I love even more to help you. So my number and email are back on the screen. Feel free to reach out at any time. I'd love to have a conversation with you and see how I could help you. So enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we'll catch you on the next one.